In today's listener write-in, I'll be responding to a letter from Shayal from India. Dear Tess, so a few years back when I was 11 to 12, it was quarantine time. I was left alone with nothing else to entertain me, and that's why I found anime and boyfriend audios. I started imagining myself in scenarios. I also tried to animate/draw, but wasn't good. So I just daydreamed. Now it's an addiction. For me, those characters live rent-free in my head. I start reading fanfics about them while listening to music for hours. I obsess over one character for 2 years until I moved on to my recent one. Hi Shrial! I hope I'm saying your name right, and thank you so much for writing in. You don't give too much info around what's going on outside of these habits. Mostly I'm just going to ask you some questions within this video that you can reflect upon, and that might help loosen some of this addictive behavior. Do you have any conditions that could be making the maladaptive daydreaming worse? Do you have OCD? Do you have ADHD? Do you have any trauma untreated? Do you have access to a therapist? Do you have access to a doctor who may be able to medicate for any conditions you do have? Do you have support from your parents to be able to talk about this? Do you feel like you have safe people around you to express yourself without being yelled at or ridiculed or dismissed or having your feelings or thoughts diminished? What kind of triggers do you experience? A lot of people write in that music is a trigger, that isolation is a trigger, that painful circumstances or unsafe environments are triggers. It seems that one activity you devoted time to has become a way that this habit has expanded, and that's through anime and boyfriend audios. I don't know exactly what that is. You mentioned dramas, audios, so maybe it's like audiobooks or something like that related to dramas or anime, and then you start reading fanfics and you obsess about the characters. One thing I might consider if I were you, what would happen if you journaled about the first character you obsessed over and then this recent one? I think one thing to think about, what are these characters giving you that you're not getting from outside in the real world? Are they giving you a sense of safety? Are they giving you a sense of like romantic feelings? Are they giving you a sense of feeling connected with the world? Are they giving you a sense of feeling valued in the world? Discover what exactly you're getting from these fantasies, and then consider how you might get that from your actual world. If the focus is on romance, you could try to make your life more romantic. Maybe that's finding different ways of decorating your bedroom so it's kind of whimsical or fun. Maybe it's by finding pretty places to hang out where there are lots of flowers. I think one thing that most people could benefit from is spending time with other people. And I think one way of working through this is by finding people you connect with who you feel good around. They might not give you the same good feelings as you're getting from these characters, but they might give you good feelings that can be good enough to replace these characters. I think one of the other things to think about is that these habits develop over time. You expressed that this one started 4 to 5 years ago. So it's going to take time to reduce the habit. So I think also giving yourself some grace, being patient with yourself and recognizing that this habit isn't going to go away in a day. I think the other thing to consider is, do you actually want to stop this habit or replace it with something? And if you do, if you really do, what can you replace it with? I think I talk about this in other videos, but there's a book, The Power of Habit, and within the book, Charles Duhigg, the author, talks about the habit cycle, I think it's called, and it's like you have the habit, there's a trigger for the habit, you do the habit, you get the reward, maybe dopamine or something else, and then the cycle continues. If you're getting like a sense of feeling accomplished, say, in these daydreams, then maybe you have to replace it with like a hobby that you can also feel accomplished with. You express that you enjoyed drawing, or you started to draw, but you said you weren't good enough. Maybe just deal with not being good enough. If you enjoy drawing, maybe not drawing well is good enough. The other thing is, most of us start off doing poorly with whatever thing we do, and if we continue to do the thing we like to do, we'll improve. So I started writing poetry when, I don't know, the earliest poems I wrote, I was probably like 5 or 6, maybe a little older, because I actually didn't write till I was a little older, maybe 6. And, you know, some of my poems were cute, but they weren't the level they're at today because I've grown up and I've written a lot of bad poems to get the better poems I have today. I probably have, I don't know, 10,000 or more bad poems. And because I wrote those poems, I was able to get the better poems. So before you judge your drawing or your animations, why don't you challenge yourself to create 100 bad drawings? And I think at the end of that, you might see that your drawing improves. Maybe try to draw one thing every day for a year. I had a friend who did that. She did it with Post-it notes. She did just like a squiggle every day, and she would post all her squiggles up day after day that she did it. And I think a couple of her squiggles actually turned into tattoos that she gave to like other friends, or that other friends got tattoos based on her works. So you never know what's gonna happen by just getting into the habit of doing something that's positive. Daydreaming is a lovely thing, but it sounds like it has gotten to the point where it's no longer positive in your life. One of the best ways of working through addictions or habits is by replacing them with other ones. That's why with cigarettes, people will chew gum instead, or they'll do a patch. It's giving a replacement for what's being taken away. That's why I think drawing or animating or some other activity that you like might be a good replacement. One other thing I might add, you mentioned that you read the fanfics while listening to music for hours. A lot of people express music as a trigger for maladaptive daydreaming, so based on that one line in your letter, maybe stop listening to music for a bit, see if that helps decrease it. Basically, you're kind of experimenting with what works and what doesn't work. And don't be afraid to make adjustments. I think those are good places to start. I would love to hear back from you in a few months if you try any of these things. And I wish you the best. Thanks so much for writing in. If anyone else has suggestions, please leave them below. And please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.